Welcome to our channel. In today's video on Hindu editorial analysis, we are going to discuss a topic on regenerative braking system. And this particular article is very much important for your GS paper 3 component on science and technology. So let's directly go into the article, friends. In an electrical vehicle, what is regenerative braking? So this particular article will first try to understand what is the meaning of braking. We know we use the braking system in especially automobiles to make the moving vehicle to come to a halt or stoppage or sudden emergency stop. We use braking system, and this braking system overall today's article they have classified into four categories, and they are also talking about these four, but among that regenerative braking system is very much important, friends. But let's try to understand the four types which they are discussing. First one is the mechanical braking system, which we generally normally use in petrol diesel vehicle. Second one is the induction braking system. This induction braking system can be seen in case of locomotive trains. Third one is the regenerative braking system. This regenerative braking system we can see in case of electrical vehicles. And the fourth one is the rheostatic or dynamic braking system. So overall these are the four major types which we can classify the braking system. In this regenerative braking system is very much important, friends. First let's try to understand the conventional mechanical braking system. We know very well how this normal mechanical braking system works. This normally in case of conventional engine which uses petrol and diesel, and when we use this petrol diesel to generate that kinetic energy to move the vehicles, when we wanted to make the vehicle to come to a stop or halt all of a sudden, what we generally do is we apply a brake pedal, and the brake pedal what it will do is it will make the moving vehicle to come to a halt all of a sudden. But at that time, friends, what is the problem here is the rotational energy, that is there is a kinetic energy which is in usage, and when we apply the brake pedal, what will happen is some of the kinetic energy which is generated, it will be wasted as friction with the supply, especially with the surface, and it will be released as heat. So this heat energy is wastage, we can say, in case of normal or conventional braking system. But if you look at the regenerative braking system, friends, here that energy which is getting as wasted, that is the heat energy, instead of that we will be using that energy into a useful way. So that is the basic difference between mechanical braking system and regenerative braking system. And how do we do this? Let's try to understand with the help of this diagram. Normally in case of electrical vehicles we use a battery to supply electricity to the motor, and this motor will run the wheels. So due to that the vehicle will be in motion in electrical vehicles. But whenever we apply a brake, especially during the times whenever we use regenerative braking system and when we apply the brake, what will happen is that, friends, here there will be a difference in function will happen. Instead of functioning as motor, now this motor will act as generator. And we know very well what is the purpose of generator, because generator is something which will convert mechanical energy into electrical energy. And in such a case, friends, we know this excess kinetic energy which is generated, because when we apply a brake in electrical vehicles, the electric energy will be cut off from the system. But due to that kinetic energy which is in excess, it will keep moving. And now what will happen is that, friends, since the wheel is moving and it is cut off from the other part of the system, but it will be connected with the generator. The wheel which is rotating now this mechanical energy will be used by the generator to produce electricity, and it will be stored in a battery. So now what is the one important thing which we need to understand is, friends, when this electric energy is cut off during the regenerative braking system, the wheels will be still moving, because some of the kinetic energy will be still in use. But what is something very different is these moving wheels will make it will also rotate the generator, and it will produce electricity. Now due to this the excess energy will be used here and the vehicle will come to a stop. So this is how the regenerative braking system works, friends. And there is a difference between regenerative braking system and dynamic braking system. In dynamic braking system, it is similar to conventional braking system, where we will be losing that excess kinetic energy in the form of heat. In the same manner, here also we will be losing it, and we will not be usefully using that energy to produce further any useful purposes, and that is not happening in dynamic brake as well, because here when the electricity energy is stopped all of a sudden, the rotation of the wheels, that excess kinetic energy will be transferred to the transistor and it will be released in the form of heat. So here also it is going on wastage, and mechanical braking system also it is going on wastage. Where it is going in a useful manner is a regenerative braking system, and that is why this is very important. And the one we are left out with is the induction braking system, friends, and this is actually can be seen in case of trains. And trains, we know very well, they function on the principle of magnetism. And in a magnetism, what is happening is that, friends, in a moving wheel of the trains, it functions on the principle of magnetism. And inside this magnetic field which is generated between these magnets attached to the wheels of the trains, whenever we apply a brake in these trains, a metal will be moving and it will be disturbing this magnetic field of the magnets, and this will produce an opposite eddy current. So due to the opposite eddy currents or opposite force which is generated, this will stop the vehicle to a halt. So this is how induction braking system works. But among this, the regenerative braking system is catching the attention very recently due to its usage in case of electrical vehicles. And this regenerative braking system, friends, overall we have discussed about the basics how it works, but it has many problems as well as some positives also. Let's first try to understand what are some of its problems. One of the biggest problem is we cannot make the vehicle to come to a stop all of a sudden in case of regenerative braking system, or in case of busy traffic areas inside city we cannot use it. That is why in electrical vehicles we will be having a hybrid brake, that is regenerative brake we will use in case of less traffic areas, and in busy traffic areas we can use, or emergency way you wanted to stop all of a sudden, we can go for conventional braking system. So that is one negative in case of regenerative braking. So you are still dependent on conventional brake in some of the places. And even when you go for a hilly place also, in the slopey areas, when we wanted to make the vehicle to a halt, regenerative braking system cannot be used or relied upon. So these are some of the problems we will be facing in case of regenerative braking system. Now if you look at some of the prospects, that is what are some of the positives or useful things where it can be used is here, is that, friends, many experts are saying that this particular regenerative braking system, that is the excess kinetic energy which generally will be wasted due to applying of brake all of a sudden, will now be used to run a generator and store that in a form of electricity. So this is going to be a big game changer. So now what they are saying, many experts are saying that it will be useful for submarines navigation, satellites navigation, and even in future this can be used to for starting that is internal combustion engine of a fuel. Because in internal combustion engine, what will happen is that, friends, we can use this kinetic energy to supply some air inside the engine, and that can use to start the engine as well. So it can be used in submarine navigation, satellite navigations. So these are some of the usefulness we are getting out of regenerative braking system, or potential prospects out of regenerative braking system, and some of the challenges we are facing in regenerative braking system. So let's now go into the today's mains answer writing practice question, friends. And this is a question which UPSC has asked already last year, and there is a high chance they may ask in the coming year as well. So let's go and discuss this question. The adoption of electrical vehicles is rapidly growing worldwide. How do electrical vehicles contribute to reducing carbon emissions, and what are the key benefits that they are compared to traditional engine vehicles? Friends, with today's discussion, I hope you will be able to answer this, because they are actually mainly talking about this regenerative braking system only, and what is its comparative advantage over traditional combustion engine. So with today's video, I hope this concept will be very clear for you to write this answer. Please try to break the question into various components and put subheadings accordingly, and try to write for a maximum of 3 pages, and try to bring in various diagrams to explain your concepts. I hope today's video was useful to you. We'll again meet in a new video, friends. Thank you.